aventuras del heavy metal. Y nos estrenamos nada más y nada menos con una entrevista a Ryan Roxie, guitarra de Alice Cooper. Aquí lo tienen. Which is the difference between United States and here?
I will blame the Rolling Stones and the Beatles for all the amazing rock and roll coming out of the UK back in the old school, which influenced a bunch of great American bands like Alice Cooper, Aerosmith.
Lot of bands.
Yeah. So America and the UK have always had a great relationship of rock and roll. Yeah. And then every country has that influence put on them. And then for some reason, they are able to take it in their own language. I think the most important aspect of why American bands and English bands are so popular in other countries is because everybody shares the love of rock and roll, and the love of rock and roll was sort of formed with the English language in mind at first.
But we have here many bands, they sing in English, like Children, like, I don't know, many ones. My web always is supporting all the bands, and some of them, like in Mute, they was a winner on Wacken Festival like 2 years ago.
I can say is that I'm lucky enough to play with an American icon like Alice Cooper, so that helps me out. But I understand living in a country like Sweden, where we have many rock and roll bands that sing in English, that are very popular across the world because of they speak, they sing in English and they write their songs in English. But at the same time, they have songs as well in Swedish. There's a lot of Swedish bands that outside of Sweden aren't known, but they're like great bands. Well, In Flames everybody knows because they do play a great type of style of music. Plus their songs are in English. The Hives as well. Going back all the way to my childhood, I never knew that ABBA was Swedish. I just thought they were a great band. So it didn't matter where they were from. I just thought it was great songs.
The kind of music they do.
That's true. So I think the English language, though, is something that is sort of at the core of a lot of rock music. And I know there's bands. I'm going to get some hate mail for that, because I know there's some great bands that have all their songs in their native tongue. But for some reason, when you're talking about getting laid or having a good time on a Friday night, or partying till you fall down, it always sounds better in English for some reason.
I know. I want to know also if you know some bands from Spain.
I've been lucky enough to tour Spain with Alice a bunch of times, as well as with Casablanca, and some back in the day with Gilby Clarke. So we met a few of the Spanish bands, but not any one that we've ever toured a long time with. So yeah, I wish I could.
A very important festival here on near to my city is a Rock Legend Festival, and every year around August they bring like 66 bands from around the world. Like last year was 2 years ago was I don't know, Arch Enemy, lot of fun like that kind, and we have like 85,000 people enjoying, and they mix international bands with national bands, and that is the way to support that bands to be bigger.
That's the best mix. That's always that's always the best mix, to have the national bands playing with the international bands. I think that's important. As far as Spanish-speaking artists that I've been really tight with, there's a very famous guitar player in Argentina called Papo, and I think he was Papo Blues, and he was popular in Spain as well. He passed away, unfortunately, rest his soul. But he was such a great performer, great guitar player, and I'm racking my brain right now as we talk, trying to think of some Swedish or some Spanish bands that we have played with over the years, and I remember the gigs. I remember all our Spanish gigs when we play in
But it's
Barcelona.
difficult to recognize a name in a specific.
Yes. I'm trying to.
Because I know your career is as another question I have for you. You start with Alice Cooper in '96, I think.
Yes.
But before that, you was already a great music player, and someone write about you good things, and then you joined to Alice Cooper band. But what do you think about the people who want to be like you, like a great guitar player, to be better? I mean, to be different than the rest.
I think in
what
order
need a guitar player to be?
Okay, I have an answer for that. I think in order for people to get to where they want to go, they have to know where they want to go. They have to have a destination. They have to set a goal. So 99% of reaching where you want to be is actually knowing where you want to be at the beginning. And then setting that goal, doing something every single day to get towards that goal. Because the minute that you want to get, to a certain point, you have a destination. And once you have the destination, the world starts doing things that you have no control over. Yes, that will line up and let you get to that point. But here's the thing. You can't just think about what it's going to be like when you get there. You almost have to act like you're already there and you're enjoying the process of getting there. You know that you haven't achieved.
It's a process, no?
Yeah, and I haven't even achieved the goal of where I want to be yet. I'm still just like anybody else. I'm still trying to get to that point of where I want to be. But every single time I reach another plateau, oh, I've got to play this show. Oh, I've got to play this gig.
Little goals.
Yes, little goals, and the ultimate goal it will come. But I'm always thinking that what it feels like having already achieved it. That's
to feel that you are already big one.
Yes, if you already think that you and live it, you're not watching yourself on stage. You are that self. You are that person looking out to the big crowd. Don't ever like fantasize or.
But thing is so far from you. You have to imagine that you are already there.
You are already there. But what I'm trying to say is that you can try to never think about yourself looking at yourself, but look from the point of view of where you want to be. If that makes any sense, It's
about what you think it becomes real. It's like that.
If you think it enough, but put those thoughts into action, because anybody can daydream. You and we can daydream about being friends with Johnny Depp and, hanging out on the beach. Yeah, but that doesn't get us closer to that goal of doing that. So the only thing that's going to get us closer to that goal of doing that is working towards the small things, booking a gig, playing that empty club show, which maybe there's one person at that empty club show that thinks, hey, I like this band. I want to book them for another show, and then you go.
And they bring you closer to your goal.
Exactly.
Because last year one band that I was supporting on my web a lot of time, they write a review about they quit because they was working like 8 years making this doing music, and they don't get nothing, and they quit from the music like a very sad, and to me was very sad because they was very good. And I think the problem is what we was talking at the beginning. It's about the people have to also take care about the bands from their cities. Also, they can love big bands like Alice Cooper, Metallica, In Flames, anyone. But I think people have to understand that your musics are important because that is the way that when one music is trying to do something, they feel supported and they get like a powerful to keep going. But if you see you do a nice job and nobody buy your this and nobody do nothing for you, or people don't want to pay for your work, that is another problem here in Spain. Many places they invite the bands like, hey, I like your band. Can you come to play to my store, to my bar? But we don't pay you, okay? We just want to support you. No, pay me, please, because you support me when you pay for my job. But well, that is the way here in Spain.
Well, if you want to know the exact story of being in a rock and roll band, all you have to do is listen to Bon Scott's lyrics of "It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll," because or go see the movie Spinal Tap. Either "It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll" by AC/DC, or watching the movie Spinal Tap. That's exactly what actually happens in the rock and roll business. As much as we joke about it, as much as we have fun with it, all those things happen.
But it's reality.
And it's a long way to the top. And if you ever get to the top,
I see the movie about Alice Cooper life, and I was so impressed because he was like, from the beginning, he wanted to be a star, and his travel was so hard, but he made it. So I think it's iconic for many people. I have another question.
Okay.
You yesterday was doing like a tribute to Jimmy Webb.
Yes.
And that song, I Wanna Be Your Dog, I never hear that song before.
No.
No, I don't know why, but I was so
Pop.
surprised.
Really cool song.
But I don't know too much about Iggy Pop because that song, I Wanna Be Your Dog, to me was so beautiful because many artists like you work in their homes and do that song, and I think was not just to play, was like a from the heart. Yeah. And even I didn't hear the song before, I was like almost crying.
Thank you for watching it. Anybody that wants to watch it, it's on our YouTube channel right now. If you go to the Ryan Roxie official YouTube channel, what you're talking about is the I Want to Be Your Dog tribute that we did to a friend of ours that passed away named Jimmy Webb. He was the unofficial mayor of New York City, I feel, the unofficial rock and roll mayor of New York City. Amazing soul, really great energy from him. But that song is so raw. I think you responded to it because it's very basic. It's guitar, bass, drums, lead vocal.
And that was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for getting into it. But we did it all one take. Everybody did it from their home studio. Like I'm in right now where I'm filming this is right from my son's room, which I have a little bit of a recording studio as well. And everybody did it from the heart. They played it from the heart, one take.
We did that yesterday.
We played that song so many times in this band called the Goon Squad. So when we decided to do the tribute, we said, let's do this song that we've already played. We already know it. We don't have to pretend it's something else. It is what it is. If people like it, if people like it, they can enjoy it and maybe respond through the charity that we've actually suggested that people donate to. So if you want to go check it out, we're really proud of that. And thank you for listening and responding like you did yesterday.
Yesterday was so funny, and I was thinking you need to have your own show like yesterday because but every day because it's so good, people can enjoy it. And I was looking that chicken with the fanzano was so funny, and I think was so natural. And we don't have nothing like this here. And it's a
during these times, I think it's really important that anybody that plays music and that has something inside them to gives it to other people that need to be entertained right now because we don't have a stage. We don't have a live stage right now to play on, so we have to find a different type of stage. And the types of stage we're finding right now are online, and that's why it's. I encourage anybody that plays music to don't get self-conscious, don't be afraid. Just put yourself in front of a camera and put your music out there, and people will respond.
People enjoy it. Yes, it's a nice gift because that is another question. Here in Spain, the music movement is going to be very hard when this crisis over. In fact, they give us a 15 day more from to be in home because we have a lot of dead people here. And I want to know, do you think the world in the way we understand the live music, concert, festival is going to change when this is over?
I don't know. It's going to go one way or the other, right? It's going to go either that we change the format of a live performance and we make it much more video influenced where people can look inside our lives through video in a virtual way, or everyone is so starved to feel the energy of a live show and be next to another person that everyone's going to come out in really support it. And like I say, that's kind of is up to things that are out of our hands. We're not doctors, we're not scientists, we don't know about the vaccine, we don't have the studies in enough to really know if it's, safe enough to start meeting in huge groups. But as soon as they do give the green light for meeting large places, and we have a plan of how to deal with this stupid virus, then we can go back to, I think people will respond more than they ever have, because when something's taken away from you, like the experience of a concert, maybe we took it for granted for so many years to play in front of audiences. I never ever tried to take it for granted that we're playing in front of amazing audiences. And to be honest with you, Spain is one of the most passionate crowds you could ever play for. But the thing is, I think when we're given that chance to go play for people again, and people are given a chance to come in and see a concert, they're going to appreciate it so much more.
I think too that, because I think we was so happy and we didn't appreciate enough. And now we don't miss material things. Normal people is missing to hug, to be with the friends, to drink a beer, the normal thing we was doing every day. But now it are like, oh my God, I can't believe I cannot do that anymore. We were here because we can stop like a limbo, and we don't have, they stop like 100 concerts, like 8 or 9 festivals, and the people is losing a lot of money because here in Spain, normally one band, even if it's so good, they need to pay for their CD, and then if the CD is good, people work with them. But at the beginning, bands have to pay their own job, so they are losing a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the whole hardship of being in a rock and roll band. I've done it. I've worked my way through the trenches for so long. But isn't it funny that at the end of the day, the old saying, and I will change one of the words, sex, wine, and rock and roll is all you need. All that other stuff you don't, right? But just
it's a stay alive. It's a way to see the world. That is the difference between a normal person and a rock and roll person. I have another question. Let me read, because I have a lot of things to ask you.
Please do.
You was collaborating a few months ago when that crisis from Australia with the fire, and you was playing with Queen, no?
Yes.
And how was that experience for you?
That was one of those shows that it really lasts with you, because it was doing something good. Because back then, it's only 2 months ago, but the Australian bushfires were like a major news, and probably still are. If it wasn't for the entire world being changed since then, that was still something really good that we did and raised money for the firefighters to stop those bushfires. The show itself, though, was one of the biggest shows I've ever played. It was at a sold-out stadium, and I got to play with some of the, a band that I had posters on my wall when I was growing up. I had posters of Queen. I had posters of, Brian May, and I used to read every single Guitar Player magazine article that would come out on him. That 1977 album, News of the World, which had We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, It's Late, Sleeping on the Sidewalk, so many songs. One of my favorite albums of all time was Queen, News of the World, and that's what really opened my mind to a lot of music and a lot of the reason why I make the type of albums that I do. So to play with that band for such an important event was really, really, really special.
I want to ask you, when you was a kid, when you know it that you want to be a rock star, when you discovered yourself?
Well, I feel that by having all these posters up in my wall as a kid, and I had posters of like sports dudes, and I had some posters of rock stars and a bunch of sporting heroes. I felt that maybe me and my body type was much more inclined to be a rock and roller. I was a skinny little kid, and I thought, well, you know what? Playing guitar is much easier, and I won't get injured. Maybe that's a better job. But it was a young age. It was like, between 7 years old and then like 11, I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. And when I turned 11, I would visualize myself being on stage, but also do something towards becoming a working musician, every single day. So the first time I ever got paid to play a show, I was 16 years old. So I feel, and they didn't pay me much. They paid me probably, a ham sandwich and a couple bucks. But I was able to get paid to play music. And from then on, I was hooked. I was like, wow, I can make a living playing music and get to see the world. This is great. Let me do that.
And you was working for that?
Always.
And yesterday you was talking about that. Do you think it's difficult if you are a left-handed to be a nice guitar player, or right-handed, or is the same?
I actually think it's an advantage. I know this goes against all conventional wisdom. It's an advantage to be left-handed and playing guitar traditional, because all the coordination that you need in your left hand is the one that's on the neck, and that's the one that moves all up and down. The right hand basically just has a pick, so it just goes up and down. So for me, which hand would you want more coordination in, your left or your right?
Oh, I was reading in your official page that you have a lot of time ago a project like a That's Porno Mag.
Yes.
And was a hidden track in that
Track
CD.
77. Yeah, wow.
Can you talk about that?
Well, it's back in the days they used to put hidden tracks on CDs. So you'd have like maybe 10 or 11 songs, and then the CD would just keep on playing, and then a hidden song would come out. Well, we decided to put a number on that song, and we put the number 77 because I love the number 77, and we had a song called My Bad Knee. So it's a very rare track to find on a CD, but we figured that there'd be a lot of people that would listen to the CD and then just maybe fall asleep or maybe have sex or maybe whatever they wanted to do with the album. The album would end and it would keep playing. And then about maybe 40 minutes into the CD, boom, the song comes on. I thought that was quite fun.
It was amazing. I was from yesterday, I was thinking in that. It's a nice idea. I think it's a very creative one. Also, I know you are a songwriter and also a guitar teacher. And I want to know what you find. I know many people make to you this question, but I really want to know where you find inspiration to write, to compose a new riff, because your career is so long. So you invented a lot of things. Where do you find inspiration to do new things?
I find inspiration to do new things by walking around with music on. Maybe not even my own music, maybe music from another band, but just walk around the environment you're in. I would write a lot of song ideas when I was on tour because I could. Cool.
I want to know about that. I
The
know you
inspiration for
make here
songwriting.
another, yes.
Yeah.
How you do to make something new that is different than the rest that you do ever?
Well, here's the idea for me. I always am inspired by music, by my favorite bands. I'm always listening to it and being inspired, but trying not to copy it. Because there's a big difference between being inspired by something and
copy something.
and then copying something. Exactly. So everybody that's great does it their own way. So I'm inspired by people that have done it their own way. I can't do it their way, but I can be inspired by what they did and maybe grab one or two ideas of how they did it. But ultimately, I have to make it my own way if I'm going to be great at something. And hopefully someday I'll, end up getting to my goal of where I want to be. But just like anybody else, I'm still in doing on my journey of playing guitar, learning guitar, learning how to talk, growing, and then, eventually the difference is, hopefully, and people will see this, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the whole process, and that's all I ever tell other people to do. Enjoy where you are right now, but strive.
Don't worry for the future, because the future is going to come anyway.
Keep striving to do something even greater.
Which band? Here in Spain, I always artists say I'm a very strange because I ask weird questions, and I want to know which music are you listening now, like the compulsive way. I mean, some band like you cannot stop to hear.
Wow, a new band or an old band? Because a lot of times I find myself.
Anyone.
A lot of times I find myself going back to albums and eras of music that perhaps I didn't know at the time were popular, but now I'm just discovering. So there's a band out of Canada called Sloan. They're very power pop based, and they're very Beatle influenced. And I love any band that sounds like the Beatles. So when I listen to Sloan these days, I'm re-inspired to sort of write, new power pop. And that's the type of music that I've been listening to lately, is a bunch of power pop.
And I want to know, I don't know exactly the way to say in English, when something happened to you that you never forget. Something happened to you in a concert, in a festival that you, good or bad, that you're never going to forget?
There's been a few things that have happened over the years on stage with Alice that you'll never forget. I mean, obviously, when the power of the entire venue goes off, when you're playing an electric guitar, it's not a good thing. It's kind of a weird moment when you're playing and all of a sudden every single amplifier on stage goes out and the lights start going out. That happened, definitely. Another one is when I was just coming back off of tour after having knee surgery, and I like to spin around a lot during those days. And I hadn't spun since I had the knee surgery. And our first show, I went back on tour and I started to do one of my spins. And the next thing I know, I'm flat on my back looking up at the sky. Going, yes, absolutely. How did I get there? So those are things that, not so much embarrassing, but just so much like, hey, once you had knee surgery, maybe you should wait a little while before you start spinning around like a maniac. So.
But it's the energy of the moment.
Oh, I'm feeding off the crowd, and then there's been very special moments with, some of the guest artists that we get up on stage because Alice is so well known. There's a lot of popular, rock and roll stars that want to come up and play with us, and we've had everybody from Bob Geldof, from Live Aid to Marilyn Manson to, again, my guitar hero. I got to play with Brian May on stage with Alice Cooper. So that's a pretty, nice memory for me to have on stage.
And in the future, if you're not, I don't know, if you're not anymore a superstar from rock band, what do you want to be?
I'll be a superstar from my podcast. How about that? No. I just, hopefully whatever I end up doing post music is still inspiring to get people to sort of find out what they're good at and make it their passion. Find out exactly what you're good at and what makes you happy, and hopefully it's the same thing or similar. And when you find that, go for it. And when that becomes your job, you not only have a job, you have something that doesn't feel like a job, and you get paid bigger than any sort of, you receive so much energy and riches that you ever could imagine possible. So hopefully, after music, but at the same time, I'm very, like I said, lucky to play music at this age. So if that ever does go away, I'll do something else, hopefully that still inspires people to do what they want to do.
My God, you're not too old. There is a lot of music, look the Rolling Stones. They keep doing. Yesterday they was doing a stream show.
I saw it.
So funny. You saw it, and he was playing the drums in a box, and to me was amazing because just only Rolling Stone can do that. It's like a here.
Like I said from the beginning, the Rolling Stones and the Beatles are probably the two bands that have pioneered everything. They've inspired everything since, and that includes Alice Cooper.
If Rolling Stone do, everybody can do it, but you have to do it first.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And you have, when this is over, hopefully it's going to be really soon, and people can come out again. Alice Cooper or for your own and another project have a date here on Spain?
Yes, because honestly, anytime that I see Spain on our on our tour stop list, on all the shows that are on the European tour, whenever I see, it's either, a lot of times it's Barcelona, a lot of times it's Madrid, but we've also played other places. And I remember with a band I was involved with in Sweden called Casablanca, we played like 11 different Spain cities in 11 days. So trust me, anytime that we can get back to Spain to start playing again, I'm ready.
I want to know, it's a trivial question, but in which way it changed your life, not to be a guitar player, to play with Alice Cooper, and not in a musical level, I mean in a intro level inside.
Yeah. Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper has taught me so much more than just being a guitar player and a musician in a band. He's taught me how to take the experience of music and playing live and utilize it and put it to good use in other fields, whether it's the podcast that I do or whether it's the guitar lessons that I teach. He's taught me to take whatever good that I can out of playing live music and try and make another type of income from it. Because a lot of people know Alice only from Wayne's World. A lot of people only know Alice from his 70s iconic hits. A lot of people only know Alice from Poison. A lot of people only know Alice from playing golf. But, at the end of the day, everybody knows Alice as a household name. And I think that's what we're all striving to do. Know us from a bunch of different things that we do. All based out of music.
He makes you feel like self-secure about you, or better to open your mind in new ways.
Absolutely. He's taught me that because we play music and because a lot of people love rock and roll, there's other things that you can do to spread good energy and spread good, good vibes.
Push you to do new things. I think your stream show is going to be famous because I don't join in that things because sometimes I come late or sometimes I don't understand what they're talking about. But yesterday, the way you do your program is like a real program, like a people. If you join late, you know what they're talking about. It was so funny, was so close. You feel like a you there with you, and was so good.
Well, thank you for watching, and anybody that wants to check out the podcast.
I think it's to be with you say yesterday con Kane? No, I don't know.
Kane Roberts.
Kane Roberts.
Yeah, Kane Roberts will be our guest tomorrow on the podcast, and he's going to be great because he was a very influential guitar player in the Alice Cooper band in the 1980s. So we're looking forward to having him on. But if anyone wants to check out anything, just tell people to go to ryanroxie.com, and you'll be able to understand my podcast. You'll be able to view a bunch of my guitar lessons, and of course, you'll be able to see a bunch of the history that I have with my solo music as well as playing with Alice Cooper.
Listen, I want to say thank you for these moments, and you can be sure we are going to be posting all your news in our web.
Thank you so much for supporting, and hopefully I will see you down in Spain the next time we're down there. But you're always invited to our world, whether it's the podcast or whether it's the Sunday live streams or whether it's just going on to ryanroxie.com.
I hope to see you here in Spain so soon. And thank you so much for this moment.
You, Karina.
It's like an honor and nice to meet you.
Well, thank you so much.